Hello and welcome to the Bod Box. So, it's time for a crash course in Greek mythology. Let's see. The god of death, Hades, had a three-headed dog called Cerberus. Cerberus was the guard dog. This week's subject, a reverse wedge robot designed to look like a dog, was named for Hades' guard dog. However, Cerberus the robot did not have 3 heads. Its team had 3 people in, though, and between them they have 3 heads. Cerberus, like the last 2 robots I've talked about, made its debut in Series 3, but this one found home in heat after the Pussycat mess. Cerberus' first opponent was Kilohertz, an Axbot which had just returned from America. Cerberus had already won Philippa the Pit Reporter with its looks. It was a very shiny robot. It had to remove its sword though because of the Pussycat mess the heat before. It was hardened one blade, the same kind that caused Pussycat to be disqualified. Before I go on, I must warn you, this is an infamous fight. So you have been warned. Kilohertz, being quick, managed to get over to Cerberus and started axing Cerberus. One of these Cerberus attacks hit Cerberus, some vital Cerberus stuff, but it kept moving. Kilohertz then tried to have another run at Cerberus, but Kilohertz drove straight into the pit of oblivion. Cue wild celebrations from the Cerberus team. In victory, the Cerberus team got to explain how plating works. Yes, it's unusual, but educational. Oh, and the kicker? Kilohertz's driver, John Reed, had won Best Driver. This was in the very early days of BattleBots, I hasten to add, over in America. But either way, Cerberus was through. Next up for Cerberus was Griffin, the successor of Cunning Plan, which you might remember from the Demolishers episode. This fight is also famous, but for a different reason. Shall we begin? The Cerberus team had promised to send Griffin to the pit and back to hell. So Cerberus started moving a span, went over to the slower moving and not very well Griffin and shoved it in the pit. Until Dan Tom Kia beat IG-88 in Series 7, this was the fastest fight in Robot Wars history and remains the fastest Robot Wars fight that wasn't won by flipping a robot out of the ring. It is, as of Series 10 Heat C, the 5th shortest fight in Robot Wars history, clocking in at just 10 seconds long. So that sent Cerberus through to the Heat final. Team Cerberus were happy to get through and said their Lord and Master loved them for it. And the Griffin versus Cerberus happened all the time like that. I must clarify here that Hades is probably their Lord and Master. Next up for them was Thing 2, and a Heat final backstory like no other. You see, Thing 2 had escaped from hell, and Cerberus had come to drag Thing 2 back to hell. Only Thing 2 didn't want to go back to hell, and Cerberus couldn't use the pit now, so they had to use other methods of sending Thing 2 into the void. Thing 2 proved itself to be pretty nippy and ran over to try and push Cerberus around, but it got out of the way just in time. Of course, once they met again, Thing 2 managed to give Cerberus a shove. Once free, Cerberus drove close to the flames, but Thing 2 did not follow, so Cerberus drove away. When the two came to blows, Cerberus shoved Thing 2 around for a moment. Both robots then drove into a wall before entering a pushing wall won by Cerberus, or Thing 2 shoved Cerberus into Matilda's CPZ. Both robots left hastily. In the mess, the tail linkage broke on Cerberus. Thing 2 then shoved Cerberus around and turned Cerberus upside down before launching into a spike attack. And Cerberus had no streamec, so it went out and Thing 2 stayed out of hell. At least Cerberus got nominated for Best Design, but it just lost out to Razor. Next up for Cerberus was the first World Championships, where Cerberus was representing Cyprus. Cerberus' first opponent was the American spinner Mauler, which would later appear on BattleBots. However, before the battle even began, there was a problem with the safety kind. See, there was a question about the safety of Mauler's weapon and how controlled it was. The health and safety team weren't happy, and thus Mauler could not compete, and Cerberus went through by default. This fight is not counted amongst Cerberus' victories. So a relieved Cerberus team had to fight Dietoire instead. Personally, I think Cerberus' intro for the World Championships was by far the calmest the team have ever been. Dietoire took a while to wake up in battle, but it didn't suffer too much for it. In fact, it shoved Cerberus a bit before it escaped and reversed into a wall. Dietoire did a bit more shoving, and Cerberus tried to shove back, but Dietoire managed to get a little flip in. Cerberus stayed on its wheels, though. The action was getting close to Sergeant Bash, but there was no Dietoire fair fire. In fact, Dietoire was busy pushing Cerberus towards the pit, but just missed. Sir Killalot showed up, but the only result of that was Cerberus getting freed off Dietoire's lifty arm. This meant Cerberus could shove back, but Dietoire got its lifting arm underneath Cerberus and flicked Cerberus twice to shove it to turn it over. So the house robots attacked Cerberus, apart from Sergeant Bash. You see, Sergeant Bash has a flamethrower. Dietoire is known for catching fire. So, yes, cue the Dietoire fair fire. Sir Killalot eventually did the kind thing and put Cerberus in the pit, but not without some tail damage. And that was it for Cerberus in the World Championships. Cerberus returned for Series 4, finding a home in Heat P along with Hypnodisc. Because of Cerberus' Heat Final, though, there was a consequence. They were the 18th seeds! Their Lord and Master would like this. It meant they didn't have to fight Hypnodisc in the first round. Instead, they got to fight Terrible and Onslaught. Onslaught had to withdraw, so VMAX took Onslaught's place. Both were flippers, and Cerberus still had no streamec. By this I mean Terrible and VMAX. And they were both flippers. It was also bereft of its head, because the head took Cerberus overweight. Poor Julia, the pit reporter for this series, couldn't even lift it. Cerberus, by the way, looks better with a head. Terrible and VMAX took their time to get to Cerberus, but when VMAX finally got an attacking, it flipped Cerberus over. And VMAX were reserves, ladies and gentlemen of the audience. Of course, being bereft of a streaming, they were done. Cue a nudge from Terrible, and then the house robots came in to cause some trouble before Cerberus got dumped in the pit by Sergeant Bash. Their Lord and Master wouldn't be happy with them for that. The team reckoned the head was a talisman. Coincidentally, the pinball run in this heat was Kilohertz's run. Cerberus next appeared in the Extreme 1 Tag Team Terror, partnering Thermidor 2. Yep, a dog and a lobster went into an arena to face the Axie Thing of Something, and the Axie Speedy Thing of Something, and the gnashing jaws of Smoothsea. Oh, and Cerberus now declared they came from hell, and also had a streamec now. And Thermidor 2 wore a hat and already scored 2 Uta flips in Extreme 1. In the same fight, Cerberus was first out, getting shoved by Smitty, but Cerberus turned the fight into a pushing war. Smitty got away and introduced Cerberus to its spinning disc and got a bit too close to something with its own other weapon, before going back to get involved in another shoving war with Cerberus. Then Smitty got a problem, drove into a wall, and out came something in Thermidor 2. Thermidor 2 and Cerberus promptly teamed up against something. Thermidor 2's first flip got something stuck. Cerberus and Smitty got counted out, and Thermidor 2 and Cerberus got through. Cue the loudest celebration in all of Extreme. Again, and that meant they got through to the semis. So, a dog and a lobster go into the tag team semi-finals to face the Crusher of Suicidal Tendencies and the Axe of the Steel Avenger. Again, Cerberus was first out, only this time Suicidal Tendencies was doing the shoving and was having a better time of it until Thermidor 2 came out to tag Cerberus. Tag team matches are known for descending into chaos pretty quickly. This one is no exception. And this one did just that, as all 4 robots entered the fray and took their time to attack the right adversary, i.e. not their teammates. Cerberus also drove into a wall, but unlike Smitty, escaped and shoved Suicidal Tendencies out of the way. Thermidor 2 had also ended up on the flame pit after having an argument with Sir Kilowat, even getting nudged by Cerberus. This never helps. Thermidor 2 ended up getting counted out, leaving Cerberus to fight the rest of the fight on its own. So Cerberus shoved the Steel Avenger into the pit release tower, and the Steel Avenger tried to shove Cerberus in there, only to nearly land in itself. So Cerberus got axed and shoved by the Steel Avenger. It then ended up out of focus for a bit due to the house robots having fun with Thermidor 2, culminating it flying through the air and just missing the Steel Avenger. But Cerberus held on to a judge's decision, which went to the Steel Avenger and Suicidal Tendencies. So a dog and a lobster left the tag team terror and parted ways, never the twain to meet. Cerberus failed to qualify for Series 5 and 6. Coincidentally, by this point, Kilohertz had been retired. It did get into the Commonwealth Carnage in Extreme 2, representing Cyprus. They were up against Terror Turtle, Panic Attack, and Crustacean. Oh, and Cerberus was no longer shiny. And the paint job, or rather lack of it, was listed as its weakness. Cerberus got attacked right away by Panic Attack, having a near miss with the ref bot while being shoved repeatedly. Crustacean got in on the action next, grabbing Cerberus with its claws and shoving it across the arena, ultimately into the pit release tower. After another tour of the arena, whilst Panic Attack was arguing with Terror Turtle, Crustacean dropped Cerberus into the pit. The other 3 made it into a judge's decision. Terror Turtle joined Cerberus in going out. Also, Panic Attack went after Shunt. Awesome. Cerberus never returned after that. Cerberus was pretty lucky to reach its lone heat final, or even get a chance at a heat final, but the team were great, so energetic I thought they actually fought more than they had. And they still hold the record for the fastest fight not won by an out of the arena flip, so there's that. What coincidence that the 2 times they did qualify for the main series, Kilohertz appeared in both episodes. What are the chances? But who's next? Oh, and the other coincidence that when Cerberus stopped qualifying for the main series, Kilohertz was no longer there. I don't get it. So we have to ask who's next. we have our 4th Series 3 debutant in a row in Vector. Until next week, Callison244, out.